All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the After Hours podcast. It's actually a special episode this week. You know, it's the holiday, it was Christmas. Got to celebrate Hanukkah for those who celebrate Hanukkah. And it's unbelievable to bring all of us together, us close friends, to sit down and, speak about some of the success that we've seen in this business over the last couple of years, some of the challenges that we've seen this last year or two. I know all of us are in the same business, so I'm sure we could all speak a little bit about, some of the stuff we've gone through.
And for the new listeners, the mortgage business, just to clarify.
The
Mortgage business, right. Licensed loan officers is what they call us.
My phone's going.
NMLS 2011899.
Jared, my man, you got a big birthday coming up, brother.
I got a big birthday, man.
Number 30.
30. That's right. It's the beginning to a whole new life.
What's it feel like, man?
It feels amazing. It feels amazing to live the last 29 years with the people that I have and with the company. And, just seeing the success that I have and seeing what I'm capable of doing, being successful is a great feeling.
You finished off the year strong, which is exciting.
Yeah.
A lot of people went through a challenging year and they kind of took their foot off the gas.
Yeah.
And you decided that you're not going to do that and not be one of those people, and you put your pedal to the metal.
Right.
And you crushed the last quarter of the year, which is awesome. So
I did.
congratulations for
Thank
that,
you.
man.
Thank you.
This December is the graveyard month.
Jared crushed it in December.
That's what I like to call it.
It's a
A lot
graveyard
of people you see burn and die in this month, right? Because if you stop doing all the work that you've done over the last 11 months or 10 months or however long you put your time in this year, right? December sets you up for January, February, March, right? It sets you up for the next 90 days, the next 60 days.
That's what a lot of people don't realize. This business, the business we're in, if you stop now,
can't take your foot
you're
off the
gonna
gas.
pay for it 2, 3, 4, 5 months from now.
Right.
Even that next year, especially with purchase business, you got people looking to buy homes. You got to put people on the calendar that whether it's a year, 6 months, 2 years, however long that time is from now, you have to nurture those people and stay on top of them until they're ready to make their move. So, I know, Gabe, you've had a great year also.
I wouldn't say great, but I would say,
You always have a great year, bro.
No,
You make the best out of everything, which is.
I would say as someone who's like new to the business.
You're only a couple years in the business.
2 years
and
in,
to
yeah.
have the success that
Have a
you've
good
had
year for-
and to put up the numbers that you put up, I mean, that's fantastic.
It's
So.
exciting. I was able to add on an assistant, over the last 2 months, and I can't wait to.
This guy travels the country and meets with real estate agents.
Yeah, I'm excited for next year. I was just talking to Gio the other day, and I was talking to a couple other guys in the office, and everyone is fucking excited for 2024.
Yeah.
Like what's to come, what we're building, what we're doing over there. It's really fucking exciting.
How could you not be? Once you get that ball rolling, once you get into a rhythm of things, it's like being in the gym. Sometimes
you find your momentum.
If you find your momentum in the gym, you're not leaving.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, 2 hours later, you're like, shit, I've been here for 2 hours. Oh,
Don't forget, Gio put up a few million to end the year off strong too. So everybody, I'm excited in our circle, whether we work together or not. Finish the year strong, which is unlike what most people did. Like I said this year, whether you're in the real estate business, or the mortgage business. So, it's also speaking about the gym that you brought up.
right.
All of us, you and Gabe, for the most part, have always been consistent or have been in the gym, and you guys understand the positive things I feel like that come by doing that. And you guys both helped me. I mean, we started together, obviously, I don't know, probably 6 months ago for the first time in my life getting into the gym. And the last year, like when I started this podcast, I've been trying to preach how important it is. And I've learned this also from, Jake and Zach, with the Journey podcast, because their whole podcast is based on personal development. I've learned so much this last year from even you guys and being around certain people that if you're not going to be the best version of yourself, and that starts with, the personal stuff, fitness and eating right, which I haven't figured that out yet. That's one of my New Year's resolutions.
Right.
But if you don't start with the stuff that you need to do, the work that you have to put in as a person, you could just forget everything else.
Absolutely.
How are you going to be the best version of yourself for other people, which is why we do this,
Right.
if you can't do the stuff you need to do?
It starts with up here. It starts with right here.
Right.
Your mindset, your the positivity that you bring out the energy that you have. It is everything.
Yeah.
Right. It's how you speak to your clients, how you work with your team, and if the goal is to build a team, it's how you interact with your team. Right. How you make people feel on the day to day. It is everything. Right. It's the difference between whether you're gonna win or you're gonna lose.
And that's tough in this business. You know that because it's a mixed roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah.
You know, you're dealing with people. You're dealing with their problems, their life, the stuff they're going through.
Right.
Because if you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Because you have to walk that person through whatever journey they're going through until you help them accomplish.
Especially when you're emotional, especially emotional in any sales business. It's hard to like really put this together and go out there and do what you do every day and do the work that compounds on day to day.
Right.
Right. Because I know in the beginning, you know, in the last couple of years, like my biggest thing has always been not lashing out in the worst way and not
keeping your composure.
Yeah, not taking my shit out on other people that don't ever deserve it.
Yeah.
Right. And you don't mean to, but when you're so passionate about what you do and you're just willing to do everything you can to make it happen for someone, and you just feel like there's so much out of your control, you can't help but to just want to
React with your emotions. Sometimes.
Every time.
Right.
And
Keep an even keel is kind of tough sometimes. Yeah.
For us, I like to take in our business sales out of it because there is a point where we have to sell a loan, but for the most part, we're providing a service. And for us, it's not a pitch. It's not a sales pitch.
Yeah, like when you say sell, it's explaining to them why it makes sense.
It's not a
to do
sales pitch. It's an opportunity for us to show them that we're an expert in our business and educate them because not everyone's educated on mortgages. Not like when I worked at the car dealership, I didn't know anything about cars. When I got into the car business, they were like horsepower. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Horsepower.
What's the horsepower?
Have to do with what does a car have to do with horses?
Tristan in the audience. This guy knows about horsepower.
Right. But when you're talking to someone about a mortgage, again, it's only really something that you may buy a house one time in your life. You may refinance after that, but you may only buy a house one time. You know.
And the questions that you get sometimes are like outlandish.
You did my mortgages. I ask crazy questions. When you're a consumer, forget being in the business for years. You as a consumer, I don't. Maybe it's a feeling of uncertainty because you're relying on everybody else to get you to the finish line, even though you have to like qualify. And
what's funny is you know, you came to me. It was like my second year of the business. Like, yo, can you do my loan? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. And I thought like, yeah, Dean's gonna be easy to work with because he gets it. But and there were times he's asked me a question. I'm like, yo, have you looked at a closing disclosure before? Like, how long have you been doing this for? But it's funny when you're
wanted to make sure you were on top of your game.
When you're on the other end of buying anything. You see how difficult you
100%.
are. I was buying furniture 2 weeks ago, and I think I mentioned this to you guys.
That's stressful.
That's
like a 300% markup though.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
So I'm buying this couch, and I have a dog, so my biggest concern is the dog coming inside of the house, muddy feet, the work. So I said to the guy, I said, look, this material right here just
you told me this story. This is great. This guy made.
It doesn't look like the couch can be cleaned. I need you to show me it can be cleaned.
You said.
So I asked the guy. I was like, can I go take my shoe, rub? It was raining outside, so I was like, can I rub it in some mud and put my shoe in it? He's like, no, let me find something. So he goes to the back. He grabs a chocolate bar, and he opens up the chocolate bar, takes the bar, and rubs it into the couch. And when I tell you rub, I'm talking like.
Into the grain.
Yo!
He's rubbing the couch, right?
Oh, you might have to stain and repaint the table.
You're good. Don't worry. So he
Coqueo floors.
he takes the soap, and it comes right out of the couch. The guy sold me right then and there.
Yeah, that's legit.
And you bought the same couch with the chocolate stain in it, or?
No, I made him get
Another one.
But it just goes to show, like,
You would do something like that.
you're difficult also when you go and buy things.
Of course.
You
I'm
wanna
also
make
the
sure.
easiest to sell on though. Like as a sale.
Oh, a sale? Forget it.
As a salesman though.
Sign here. That's how it works.
Best salesman
You
gets
put
sold.
me. You sell me out. You show me something. I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'll take it.
100%. Salesman
And
gets
you
sold.
don't, and you don't
Really
even
sold.
need
You
it.
get sold. Like,
You don't even need it.
You don't even need it. Oh, it sounds good. Oh, I may need that one day.
I remember because I used to go, I was doing door to door, and I was in the retail stores, walking up to people, selling cable TV, selling cell phones, and so anytime somebody would approach me in either like a mall or they'd come, ring my door for something, I always feel the need to say yes because I've been in their shoes before.
Yeah.
And I know,
Or at least just listen to them.
Listen to it.
At
Yeah.
least
Yeah.
Don't
just,
shut them down.
but
Right.
for the most part, like I'm ready to buy. Like, yeah, bro. Like I get what you've been going through all day. 200, sure, no problem.
Right.
Like can't
give
pay
the guy a sale,
can't pay
right?
rent, but
Just wanna
I'll
give the
help
guy a
this guy
sale.
out. No problem.
Yo, so speaking about the new year, I know we're finally starting to hear a lot of not good news, you make the news how you want to make the news, but we're starting to hear a lot of positive feedback, in regards to our industry, the interest rates coming down. I know the Fed said he's going to cut rates, maybe 3 more times next year. I feel like a lot of people maybe misinterpret what that means when they say they're going to cut rates. They think they're just cutting mortgage rates. They cut the federal funds rate, which is the money that the banks borrow from the federal government and now banks get to borrow money cheaper now. So, that means rates should come down if the Fed cuts the rates next year. So we hope to think that, if we continue to see the positive momentum that we've seen these last couple of weeks, rates had to move a point and a half already in the last month or so. So I think that if we continue to see this, we're going to have such tremendous opportunity, with people selling their homes. Now that's going to create new buyers. People are going to want to pull money out of their homes to invest in real estate or do whatever it is. I think it's going to really set up a tremendous opportunity, for this year, and I'm excited about it.
Absolutely.
I think what's funny is you guys remember when we were in low 2s, mid 2s, low 3s, and then it went up to 4s, and they got up to 5s. Everybody's up in arms, right? Then we get to 8 and then we're sitting at 8.
People don't want to take 4%, and now they're looking at rates.
People were saying 4% was too high.
Yeah, right. Remember, we were sitting at 8s, and everyone's like, "Damn, I wish we had 5s." Remember when it went to 5s? People were like 5s.
People adjust so quick, you know what I mean, to what is going on right now. To when it was probably like a year or two ago when we were talking about that, and you're trying to sell 4 or 5%. People were like, no, that's way too high. And those people ended up taking 7, 8% because it got to a point where they didn't have a choice. So a lot of people, I think, have been holding off from putting their house on the market because of the uncertainty and the volatility of the market. So they're like, well, if I sell my house now, what am I going to pay when I go buy a house? What's my rate going to be? So I think people have been sitting stagnant, haven't been putting their house on the market. But this news is kind of changing
over
things
time.
like
It creates people to get naturally. It's all media.
It changes
right?
people's view on things.
People hear that, and then they just naturally
And good
get
and
back into the
bad
market.
sometimes. Not that it's bad. Hearing that rates are coming down is great news. But then you get the people that are like, oh, well, I'm hearing rates are going to go down. I'm going to wait till rates go down a little further. I'm going to wait.
They're too dramatic with it,
But that's our job. Like, then I'll get someone on the phone. I'll say, hey, rates right now are at 6%. What are they going to drop to? 5%? The difference between 6% and 5% is this. But what happens if rates go up?
But if you
weigh out your
if you look at your average buyer who's taking out a loan at like 550, maybe 6 on Long Island, right? 7 maybe. If you look at the difference between 6 and 5,
It's $70 a month probably.
no, it's a little bit more.
Over 30
but
days of 30 years, about $100 a month.
It's
not that
I would say a little bit bigger, but I would say that if it's not that substantial of a
not a
difference to
game
sit on the
changer,
sideline.
You got to educate. You got to educate the consumer, and I feel like a lot of the problems, and not problems, a lot of the issues with our industry is people not being educated, and that starts with loan officers, real estate agents, attorneys, and even consumers. There's products out there right now that allow first-time home buyers or any home buyer to get a 4 or a 5% interest rate.
Right.
There's certain government programs. There's ways to get a low interest rate. And I feel like the last year or so, when rates were higher than what they were for years, 7, 8%, whatever the rates were, if people were more educated and if everybody worked together and put out the right news, I should say, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have been a different year or two.
Right.
It wouldn't have made people sit on the sidelines that might have thought, well, I can get a 5% rate on that buy-down program, whatever the
'Cause
program
media,
is.
The media goes right to just the negative, right? But us as loan officers, like you said, it's not really selling, it's educating.
Right.
We have to educate everybody out there because if you don't, people are just going to see what they see on the news and they're going to get scared. They're not going to move forward. But if you sit there, like you said, and educate them, talk about the buy-down programs, the different programs that are available, so they're not, right out the gate paying that 7, 8%. There's ways to get the 5% that they, in their mind, is what they wanted. Could have got you there if you talked to the right person.
Right.
So, I think a lot of it is really just, again, educating everybody and not really selling the product, but educating on what's available.
And realizing that as a realtor, as a loan officer, as an attorney, we're all on the same team.
Yeah, that's
So we have to work together to get our client to the closing. If you have a client that's holding off because of rates, you don't have that client. So if we explain, like for instance, I explained to a real estate agent, there's a 2-1 buy down program. It either comes as a concession from the seller, it comes out of a little bit out of your commission, or it comes out of the bank's commission. They heard that. Oh, whoa.
All right, so have no
client or have a little bit less on your pay from the client that we close. There should be no question about it. and
Help the client accomplish their goal,
Right.
or have no client.
Correct.
What do you want to do? you know?
correct.
I feel like people don't get that because from the bank's point of view, we've at the
We
last
lose.
at the last second we've given people
Right.
like
So many
if the
credits.
deal makes 15,000, right, the
Right.
total deal. At the last second, we've given people
Credits.
$10,000 credit.
Yes.
Yeah.
$12,000 credit,
Yes.
$12,000. So
Yeah.
the bank works
whole
for
loan.
3
They don't see
months.
that, though.
We made no money. They see the closing cost of
Right.
35,000, so they think
Right.
the bank makes that money.
Right.
Yep.
We made no money
Right.
to work on your loan for 3 months.
And had to pay people to work on your
While
loan.
everybody else earned,
Correct.
what they earned. And listen, that's just what we've always done. I feel like the people in the mortgage side, because we kind of control the whole transaction, or at least they look at us like we control the whole transaction.
Yeah, they
We're the
look-
ones with the money,
Yeah.
so that's how it
They
works.
look at us. We control escrows, title,
Everything.
Yeah, I think we do everything.
At the end of the day, we control one section of your entire breakdown.
People
Correct.
don't realize that
Correct.
we have nothing to do with title.
Correct.
or
The top
attorney.
left corner on your loan estimate is how it charges.
Yeah.
The section
That's
A.
it.
That's it.
That's it, man.
That's it.
Just keep that in mind next time you call me busting my balls. Right.
But yeah, you constantly have to explain to people like your closing
Definitely.
costs. It's mainly through title, your attorney, and like
Right.
you're constantly, explaining other people's jobs.
Yes.
To kind of deter them off of being on you. They think everything is your fault.
Right, right.
And that's rarely the case. You know what I mean? But like you said, it's just again kind of explaining it to them and simplifying it. And again, the patience too. Not just
Patience.
blowing up, not snapping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that goes a
Patience
long
is a
way.
huge.
And you realize too, and I don't really ever mind, but sometimes you'll have the same conversation 3, 4, 5 times.
You heard me on the phone yesterday with the client in the car. How you would explain something, the payment is X,
Yep.
and then 5 seconds later, so you mind just sending me that payment? You mind letting me know what that payment is?
Right.
Sir, the payment is, this is the
Right.
payment.
Like you want to hear something else.
It includes
Right.
your taxes, your whatever,
yeah.
whatever the note. So,
Right.
so, all right. So just let me know what the payment is, and then we'll close next week.
What would you guys say is some of the most ridiculous questions you've ever heard?
Oh
Take a
man.
minute to think
Yeah.
about that. But,
I have one right at the
Go.
top of my head. So
and is it ridiculous? Because I've asked ridiculous questions. But
Okay. Is there such thing as a stupid question?
not ridiculous, but something that made you kind of sit there on the phone and go,
What do you got?
wait a minute. I've had not just one, but I think a few people ask me about the pre-approval, and they always ask, if I was to buy something less, do we get that extra cash?
Yes, I've heard that before. I've heard that before.
So I said, I'm confused on what you mean. I'm sorry.
That's funny though.
So they said, well, you pre-approved us for 500,000, and what if we, get something for 350? Do we get the extra 150?
150? Can I get that towards construction?
That I think that one really took the cake for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you get that one.
yeah.
I've heard that before.
Which again,
Yeah, but if you
being
don't know,
not
you
being
don't know.
familiar with what we do, I can
I
understand
guess you
it.
can understand it.
I can
yeah.
understand it.
They don't
I would
understand.
just
I'm not giving you 500.
Put them on mute, laugh real quick, and then say, give him an answer.
Listen, I wanna talk about something that I think is very important because even like doing stuff like this, shooting a podcast, doing some media stuff, building a brand, I feel personally is very important in 2023, going into 2024, and for the next several years. I think it'll play a very important role in who's going to be hyper successful in this business.
Right.
Because, can you do what we've done for years and just work at your desk, be on the phones, meet your realtors, get your referral partners? What's up, brother?
Get away with it.
I don't know. I'm a big believer in if you've had a goal and you've been saying since the beginning of December that you're gonna do it in the new year and you didn't just start then to make your new habit, it ain't.
not doing
it. It ain't happening next year.
You're not
It's all
doing it.
bullshit.
You're not doing it.
Because you've already said in your mind, but you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again for the next 30 days.
Like, I got 2 more days. I got.
Yeah. So what difference does it make?
Right.
Right. You're just gonna make it a lot harder on yourself to go into the new year. Now you're like, oh,
Putting the
fuck.
pressure on.
Yeah, because now it's a chore for you rather than something you actually wanted to do.
Right.
Good point. Yeah.
Right.
Good point.
100%.
Joe, you feel like with your 30th birthday coming up, you feel like it's added like it's giving you a new perspective on life or like any type of like pressure that you didn't have before? Because I know for the 4 of us, we put a tremendous amount of pressure on ourselves,
Right.
and already at a young age too,
Right. Right.
right?
I think you always have goals to set for yourself in
By
the
a certain
future
age
by a
type of
certain
thing,
age. I just always had that pressure on me from the beginning.
Yeah, from the jump.
So like pressure is something. I mean, diamonds are made in pressure.
Yeah.
It could sound naive. It could sound whatever it is.
Yeah.
But like, I have goals. I don't have a certain time on it, but I'm working hard every day. Yes, I'm working harder now because I'm getting older.
Yeah.
But I'm finding new ways to work hard in a different way now that I have a
Working smart,
child,
working
now that I have a
smarter.
wife, working a little smarter, but also fucking pounding it,
Yeah.
working harder than ever to try to get to those goals. I don't think age for me is making a difference
You know,
on.
yeah.
No. I got everything I want
Yeah.
and I need. I have a beautiful wife. I have a beautiful daughter. I have a great family. I'm healthy. I'm happy. Being happy is what you could ask for. You got
Yeah, right?
people
Yeah.
that accomplished all their goals in life and are not happy.
Still not happy.
So for me, being happy, that's number one. Health is in God's hands. But yeah, I think another goal. I think a goal for me, if as I'm getting older, to answer your question, would be to get closer to God, because at the end of the day, as I'm getting older, I'm starting to see more challenges. As you get older,
More
as
responsibility.
you get more responsibilities, then you have more challenges, and a lot of people try to find an answer that they can't. There's no answer to it. The answer is finding God. The answer is, talking to Him and seeing, what happens when you start to listen to yourself, and the real answers that you have are in your head. There's no people are like, how do I talk to God? People are like, what do I do? Do I have to go to church?
be
Do
anywhere.
I have to do this or do I have to do that?
I'll never understand it. I've never been able
you-
to grasp
listen,
my hand.
I talk to him all the time.
Talk to Him.
I look up and start speaking.
Yeah, right. And there's no voice that's gonna talk back that's gonna say, "I'm God, and this is what you should do." That's not
No.
the thing. And if you look for that, you're not trying to find God.
You think you're going to say something, then it automatically happens. No, you have to manifest. You
You have to
s-
manifest.
Exactly.
Right. You gotta take the right steps.
Manifesting is real. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely is.
Absolutely.
What you put out there is what you're going to get in return.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. You keep drawing a car in your book. You keep drawing that 1998 Chevy Impala. I guarantee you one day, because you're looking at it, you're gonna push yourself to work hard to get that car.
Listen, success is not final and failure is not fatal. It's to have the courage to keep continuing to push forward. That's where I feel like most people, have a challenge in life,
Right.
because the minute that you see a roadblock or the minute there's some adversity, on that journey that you're on, people tend to quit.
Right.
And we're not those people.
Right.
So that's why I feel like no matter what we're faced with in life, all of us, we're always going to continue to push forward and actually accomplish what we want to accomplish.
Right.
In life. So
Tim Grover, you guys are familiar with Tim?
I love Tim Grover.
He makes it a really good point in his
There's
book.
no bar. Kick the bar out of the way, he said. Forget raising the bar. You kick that bar out of the
Fuck the
way,
bar, yeah.
and you accomplish
He
everything
makes-
you want to accomplish.
He makes it a really good point to talk about in his book, Winning, that success and winning is almost the evil one, right? Because you've got to battle it day in and day out.
Oh, yeah.
Right. It's something that you've got to just reach for every day. Because like you said, it's one day at a time.
Because people tend to count their days. They don't make their days count. And if you make your days count and you know that you're doing the work you have to put in every single day, yeah, you're going to face those challenges.
Yeah.
You're going to deal with adversity.
Right.
But there's no other way to get to where you want to get if you're not going to put the work in on a daily basis.
Big thing for me is your environment, the people that you're surrounding yourself around.
Yep.
Like I was thinking the other day, if you put a baby in a room and you had them live their life in a room with white walls and no influence at all, no people around them, no one to tell them how to live, it would bring us back to the barbaric days. They would know nothing.
This was a
By your own
thought. This was a
thoughts.
thought of yours.
It was. They would know nothing. They would know.
What
They
were you
wouldn't know
doing?
how to talk. They wouldn't know how to do anything besides walk. Dude, that's it. So I say that to say this: if you want to be successful, you put yourself around successful people,
Yeah, 100%.
or at least a little more successful than you are.
Yeah.
Because once you start to see people's habits that are successful, then you'll start to pick up on their habits. Dean was the young kid that was always driving around in the nice car. So if you were a kid that didn't have the nice car, you wanted to be around Dean.
Yeah.
Right? Because you were like, I want to be like Dean one day. I want to have the nice car too. So it
And that
all about
works-
who you surround yourself
And
with.
that works in circles, because the same way for anybody, growing up, I always, no matter who it was, I mean, I always had friends that had, their families had money, and we all had those friends, and it's nice to be around that. But my father never loved that because you don't want to learn that way. He taught me, we were all raised in similar ways. Tough love. You got to put the work in. You're not going to get handed anything.
Right.
Yeah, I'm there for you if something ever happens, of course,
Right.
and that's family.
Right.
But there's no handouts here, and I'm blessed now looking back at life that I was raised that way.
Right.
Because a lot of these people, they get enabled. They get, whenever there's a problem, I'll fix it for you or whatever it is, and that's not the way to. I'm not going to raise my kid that way. I mean, I feel like a daughter's different. We have daughters, so it's a little bit different than if I had a son.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
This world is not easy. It's not, and I realize that now, looking back to like even when I used to bust my parents' chops about certain things, my father or whoever it was, they were going through the same cycles that we're going through now. Right. Maybe it's a different time. Right. Maybe the world's a little more different now than it was back then. Right. But
it's no difference.
No.
No, I look back and I'm like, wow, now I'm dealing with some of the things that you were probably dealing with back then. It's challenging.
Right.
But it's who we are. We all have thick skin, so you can't let certain.
There's
things.
always going to be somebody that's on another level than you or doing better than you.
Right.
And I was always told, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room.
You're in the wrong room.
Yeah. You always need someone that can show you how to level up, and get to the next point in your life. And you can't. My father always told me, never count anybody else's money.
Right.
Don't worry about how they got where they got. They worked hard to get there.
Right.
You do the same thing, and you'll get to where you want to go.
Right.
That's a fact. Right. So a
lot of people do that. And
Yeah,
I've been guilty of that too.
Yeah,
You look at other people.
Oh, how's he doing what he's doing? How does he have what he has? Don't worry about it. He obviously did something right. He's working hard. He's doing, you know what I mean? You don't know what he's doing behind closed doors.
Yeah, you don't
or
see
the
the work.
shit that's going on in his life.
Yeah.
What's in his head.
And sometimes the only thing he has is money. So you never know.
And he
you
might
never,
not genuinely
you
be
never
happy.
You
So
never
can't
know
look
what somebody's
at
going
the
through.
dollar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll make the money. You know what I mean? But you got to, like you said, focus on being happy and the little things. And that's why this time of year, something I focus on is taking a step back. And I was telling you that they kind of slow things down.
Right.
Take into perspective what you've accomplished, what you do have, what you're going to accomplish next year, and appreciate the family and the friends that you have around you because, bro, we're constantly moving. All of us constantly going day by day. I don't even realize. I look back and I'm getting memories on my phone from 6-7 years ago. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, so time just flies. So I think especially now that we're doing this right now, it's nice. It's New Year's Eve, and we can kind of like collect our thoughts on the year we had, what we want to do next year. And as brothers and as boys, like, we're all proud of each other, but we all know we can make it. We can take it to the next step.
100%.
Right.
And to bring your point before, like, surrounding yourself with the right people, and I would say, if you're looking to be successful and you're looking to, maybe make a change in a career, it's finding people that have the position that you want to be in,
right,
and surrounding yourself with them. Like I would say that. The only reason I am, I'm in the position I am where I am now is because of Eric, because of John, because of Ben, because of Shah, right?
Absolutely.
Like the guys in my office, I think are tremendous, right? Like they're, everyone's doing 10, 15 loans a month, 8 million, 9 million, 10 million in volume, right? You see what's achievable in a down market. Right, so it's like, why can't
you create your own market, man?
Why can't I do the same?
No
why can't you
reason
do the same? Yeah, same thing if you're in real estate. Same thing if you're an attorney and you're looking to take your transactions from 20 to 50 a month. Like, doing all the right things, surrounding yourself with the right people, and asking questions.
I recently reached out to Brian Karp, arguably the #1 real estate
Guy's a
agent,
hitter.
broker in New York.
Been around a while.
And I reached out to him not to ask him for business, not to waste any of his time asking him to go to lunch or to go to breakfast.
Wow, you don't think coffee's a good idea?
No. No, not for him. The guy is way too busy making money than to get coffee with Jared Thorburn right now. But I asked him, I said, listen, if you have 10 minutes, one day during the week when you're in your office, I would love to come meet you, sit down with you for 10 minutes. That's it. Just pick your brain. So he said, no problem at all. I'm in the office on Thursdays. I'll let you know. The next Wednesday, he texts me. He's like, "Come by the office. I'll be available."
He texted you a week. He did text you a
Texted
weekly.
me that. Then again,
You hadn't followed up with him. He just shot you a message.
I sent him a text message after the call. Said, "Thank you for your time on the call, even though it was 5 minutes. Thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you in the future." Text me back that next week. I went to his office.
With no follow-up, nothing.
follow-up. Went to his office.
Shout out to Brian Carp on that
Shout out
one.
to Brian Carp. Sat down in his office. He played football at Stony Brook. We kicked it off there. It was perfect. And he said to me, Jared, while everyone else, all the other real estate agents were chasing the money, I was chasing to build my legacy. And that stuck with me forever. That'll stick with me forever. Instead of chasing every deal that we go through, every deal that we have, chasing deals and money, see the bigger picture
Yeah.
and build your legacy.
Yep.
Look at your future, like what you're doing with the podcast. Like,
I was going to chime in on that because
Yeah.
I love that because
right.
we know what makes money, and we could all go sit at our desk right now, get on the phones, pound the phones, and I guarantee you I will be successful every month until I'm not in this business.
There's only so far you get.
But like you
just by
said,
doing that.
talking about a legacy, you know, you have to think for the future, and I've always been one to think, like, how are we going to perfect what we're doing so we don't have to put the same work in that we're putting in every day in and day out.
Right.
You know, so like you said, the podcast or building media, building your own personal brand, building your legacy, which is who you are.
Right.
You know, I know what I have to do to close business every month and make money, but I even, and this is something I also wanted to speak about, you know, what are some of the things we did the last year or two that we would maybe change or not do again? Like, I took my foot off the gas in certain avenues that got me to where I got in my business. You know, for 5, 6, 7 years, I smiled and dialed the phone. I took my leads. I was the best person I could possibly be on the phone. I fell in love with the people. They fell in love with me on the phone. I would go meet with them. We'd drive 4 hours and sit at their house and make no money.
Yep.
You know, I thought about the future. I didn't think about right now. And when you sometimes think about not right now, how can I make money today? It just naturally comes.
Right.
You know, if you put in the work and do the stuff that you know you need to do, you know, over time the money's going to come, no matter what happens.
Right.
You know, are there instances where you're not going to be successful in a business? Of course.
Right.
You know, but like I said, I did what I did for a couple of years. We know that works. We've all tried to do some different things, and once everything starts to come together, I feel like, you know, that's when it's really gonna pay off. And I'm not sitting there saying, all right, when is this going to happen or when is that going to happen? I just know that every day if I continue to put the work in and do the little things that most people aren't doing because you know what people are doing, you know, it's going to pay off.
Right.
And that's what I truly believe.
And to talk about legacy also, right, is I don't think it's just about the work that you put in. And this is one of the things that I've been really trying to work on, especially the last couple months of the year, is how you make people feel, right, and how they remember how you made them feel.
Right.
Because I know I've said some pretty shit things to people in my office. I've reacted some shit ways to people in my office, and even some clients from time to time too. And not because it's intentional, but you know, because you're passionate about what you're doing. And there's no worse feeling than having to apologize to someone that you were that you never meant to actually hurt or bring tears to. It sucks. It's a shit feeling having to, you know, making somebody feel that way.
People in the office that start crying. It's just people like work. It's a business filled with pressure. You could work for 3 months, and all of a sudden, at the last minute, something goes wrong.
Yeah.
You got families that are selling their house, buying a new house. They're on the street.
Yeah.
Their clothes are in bin. You know.
It's all good points, but at the end of the day, like I've realized too, like that's not their fault. That's not their problem, right? And no matter what happens, you know, in anything you do, you know, you can't blame somebody else for the actions, right? Once it's happened, it's happened. Right. So all you can look at now is like, all right, what do I got to do to fix this? What do I got to do to move forward?
Right.
Well, listen, I look at it both ways because it is our problem and it's their problem. But like, how could we make it easier?
How do
could
we
help fix
how do
it?
we find the
How do we
solution?
solve their problem?
Yeah. You know.
We can't control that. You know, they missed a payment on their credit card a week before the closing.
I'm talking more. I
understand
I'm
what
talking
you're
more
saying.
so about the people that we work with, and
Okay.
the people that we come in contact
Right.
with day to day, right?
Of
For
course.
the people that mess up on their own behalf, and then
I feel like we always get the back. If something goes wrong, you know, we get the backlash in our business.
Yep.
Meanwhile, that's out of our control.
Yep.
Right.
You know, you could only tell somebody something so many times, and if you can't understand the stuff you have to do, like a week before the closing, go buy a car or go buy furniture or whatever it is.
Well, yeah, that's
you know, things like that.
that's like.
But the pressure comes to us
But
no matter what.
what, you get the backlash.
Yeah, 100%.
Like again, I had a client, same thing. I don't know how many times I knew her car was coming up. I said, do not lease another car.
Right.
Not lease another car. You're about to, especially if we're going into contract.
If you want to get a mortgage.
Yeah, you're title ready. Like
Just
if you
wait
go,
30 days. That's all I'm asking.
What happened? Went into contract, took out a new lease, didn't get approved. Now it's on me, and it's apparently my fault that she doesn't, qualify for the loan when we told her what not to do.
We're still going to blame ourselves.
And we're still
we
going to
should
take
have
the
followed
heat.
up with that, all of us.
Of course, we all take the heat for it, but at the end of the day, you could tell someone a million times what to do, what not to do. You can't hold their hand every step of the way. They're going to make their own decisions, and sometimes it jeopardizes their own deal. But at the end of the day, it's on us.
Yeah.
And,
No matter how you look at it.
and like you just said, right? We're always going to blame ourselves, right?
Yeah,
Especially too, like if you have big aspirations, big ambitions, and you want to build something, and you want to leave a mark, right? In your mind, you're always thinking like, "Fuck, what could I have done better there? Where could I have followed up more? Should I have checked in more? What was my last conversation like? Did I not communicate it clear enough?"
Yeah, and then there's times where we've done everything on our end, gotten the loan to where it's clear, ready to close, but then the sellers aren't ready to move,
Right.
or someone's not ready to close on with the attorneys, or there's a seller's title issue that we have no control over, and then we're still there, trying to speak to that client and walk them through it and ease their mind that we're going to get you to the closing, we're going to do everything we can. I ended up setting a guy up with a moving company last week. That's not what we do.
No, but
I'm going to do everything I can
Take
to
the next
help
step.
that person.
Right.
You know what I mean? To help them get into the home or to take the next step, even though my job's done. I'm still going to be involved. I'm still going to make sure we care about the client.
Of course.
Some people say, how hard are you willing to work to be successful? I say, how many adjustments are you willing to make to be successful?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because some people work hard their whole lives
Spinning the wheel. Doing the same.
and
Like a
are
gerbil.
working the wrong way.
Yeah, like a gerbil on a
Working
wheel.
hard, not smart. You
What
have
did J. Cole say? Congratulations, you made it a long way, but you went the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for people like when I got into the business, I had to make the adjustment from selling cars and everything was today, to then selling a loan and it taking a month and a half to close.
Yep.
And dealing with people going to other lenders and getting, having an uncle. Because everybody knows someone that knows
Everybody's
about
got a
your
cousin
business.
or
Everyone's got a cousin
Everyone
or
has an uncle that used to work in the business or did a mortgage back in 2000, but being licensed wasn't required. So,
always something.
So it's always something.
Yeah.
My uncle said that my rate should be 5%, and I'm at 6.5%, and you said it should be at 5%. Well, what made your uncle say that? Oh, well, he just thinks it's high.
should be this.
It should be, right. Right.
You came from that type of world too, though, because
Yeah.
when you saw a lot of success in the finance space years ago, and that was a quick transaction
Yeah,
too.
those
so
were
it's coming in
sale.
when I met you. That's what is it? It's a long time now.
6 years ago.
Yeah, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
When you got into the mortgage bit, that had to be a change of pace also.
Absolutely, and I remember saying that to you because I was same thing. I was
Even
used
the
to-
restaurant thing. That's so like.
Oh yeah,
Right now.
everything's And I guess when I got when I got in the business, I was expecting immediate results. And I guess probably in the first couple months I was discouraged. I was like, wow, the people that promised me business, that told me they do this, that can come through, no one's got deals, no one's got business. And now you gotta think far into the future of how, like you said, you can build your brand.
Everybody always has a good conversation at the bar, like, "Yeah, I got you. I'll give you deals for the next 10 years."
sounds
Like
great,
having a drink, and then all of a sudden, like,
100%. And then you come, oh, I got somebody I use. Okay, that's not what you said last week.
Right.
So it's like, again, you end up realizing that you got to take a step back and really kind of put your head down and just
you knew the
learn from
grind
the
though.
people around you. Yeah,
You knew the grind from your old business.
yeah, it was the similar grind.
Yeah.
It was just, again, the sale was different, and I was more like rah 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 right now, and again, the energy was different also.
Right.
So it's just a different sale. You have to
fucking screaming at each other.
yeah, I was. You were like, yo, why are you yelling at people? I'm like, I don't know. It's the guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
in that finance, in the cash advance,
people
bit,
do that. People
it's more of an aggressive.
Yeah, they scream at the clients. You know what I mean? Not that that's right or anything like that.
We walk upstairs sometimes. It's so fun. I laugh,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you can't.
It's
listen,
different. It's completely
they're
different.
very successful. You can't knock people
No,
who are
no.
very successful.
Well,
However they make.
You're just dealing with a different consumer. Think about every self-employed guy.
Some of those conversations are
from Westchester, the Bronx, Brooklyn.
Right.
Like they all have that demeanor where if you get a little loud with them, they're like,
They
yeah,
respect
no
it.
problem.
Yeah.
They're
Right.
telling each other to go f themselves.
I
on
was
the
just
phone.
gonna
Can you
say-
imagine us having that conversation about a mortgage?
No.
With Roberta from Queens in Jamaica, telling her like,
Yeah.
"Fuck you." No way.
No
way.
chance.
No way. way.
No chance.
Imagine you're on the phone with a reverse mortgage client and you're like, what the fuck do you mean you can't hear me? What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. I learned. I think I said this on a couple episodes ago. I forget. Were you there when I met Vincent Arrigo?
Yes.
Yeah, we got into a negative. I was younger.
I remember.
I was like 21 or 22, 23 maybe, and I was younger in the business, and we were investing a lot of money into this lead company or whatever it was, and I met a client and I met a realtor, and it's supposed to connect the loan officer, the realtor, and the client together, and then you're all supposed to work together.
Right.
So whatever, I pre-approved the client. We're working together for a couple of months. The realtor's showing him a house, the realtor who I didn't have a relationship with yet. And then to make a long story short, the minute that we go into contract and the buyer's buying the house, all of a sudden there's another lender involved.
Mm-hmm.
So now I don't know how to handle myself because I just got licensed.
Right.
And now I'm starting to blame the realtor. I'm snapping on the realtor like a very aggressive conversation.
Right.
Very aggressive.
Like snapping on the realtor. Like I would have never done that since. I didn't know how to handle it. So I didn't understand how could you lose my client? Like we're supposed to be a team. All of a sudden the client met somebody through the church, whatever it was, but I didn't know how to handle that situation.
Right.
And I learned fast because I guess the realtor felt bad. He happened to be a pastor, a gentleman who now going fast forward 10 years later, we have a great relationship. He'll call me for the holidays. I'll speak to him. I know his wife.
Right.
You know, we have a great relationship. You know, we know similar people. He's came to the office. We've built a
given
great
you
relationship.
plenty of
And he's
business
given us a
since
ton
then,
of business. You know, so the point in what I'm saying is it started off on the wrong foot, and I was wrong.
Right.
I yelled at the guy because I didn't know how to I didn't know how to handle the situation in the beginning, and I learned because he must have been like, all right, this guy's a young loan officer, because I said to him, you know, whatever I said, he must have felt bad that, you know, I'm a young loan officer. He felt bad that we lost the deal, so
Right.
he ended up reaching out to me. I forget when it was, a couple weeks or a couple months later, and whatever conversation we had, we just became like this. You know,
Right.
we just clicked. You know,
Right.
he was like a father figure to me in the business.
Right.
You know, and then, like you said, going forward, 10 years later, we've done 15, 20 transactions together,
Right.
you know, since then. You know, but I didn't deserve to get his business.
Right.
You know, he was in the business for years, so he knew that, yeah, this happens in the business.
Right.
I didn't know that happens. You work with somebody for 3 months, and all of a sudden, they go to somebody else at the last second. That was my first
You take
experience
that personal
with that.
of course.
Yeah, I took it personal.
Yeah.
You know, you still take things like that.
Of course.
Of course you do.
This has happened. It happened a week ago, a month ago. You
Yeah,
work with
you still gotta
somebody,
take it personal because you feel like you've done everything you can
course.
to help that person,
and you
to-
have,
and to be upfront with
you
them.
have.
know,
But
so
that'll
you're like,
happen with
know?
either a lead or a referral. And that's
can
why I
happen to
don't
anybody.
understand why people don't like leads or don't attack leads, because prospects turn into customers, customers turn into consumers. You have a lead, you do a great thing by them, you get them on the phone from across wherever you are, if you're in a different state, if you're in a different county. They love doing business with you. They refer you
gonna refer you just like
to
any other
their
referral.
uncle, their cousin, their friend. Everyone loves to refer someone. So if you give them a great experience, a lead
Everyone
that you,
wants to
that you
feel
never
like
even
they,
met.
yeah, wants to feel like they know somebody.
How good does it feel? I got a guy. Don't worry about it,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And then he does the right thing by you. He's like, told you, you know, say thank you.
And it makes them feel
You're
good
welcome.
that they recommended
Right.
you and you got it done.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if it's about people liking or not liking, because people like money, right? The reason we're in this business is, number one, to help people, but number two, to make money, right?
Right.
People don't want to put the work in, and the extra work and the rejection, get told no, no, no.
Well, then
It's
you
hard to
shouldn't be
overcome
in the
that.
business, because that should be on the business manual when you sign your job application.
To be fair though, I think it's something that can be trained though, right? Like if you're someone who's never cold called before, or
There's
if
some people that just can't.
challenging.
if you've never dialed though, it's a muscle, right?
Yes.
It grows between, you know, day in and day out of compounding on
Right.
each other.
Yep.
Right, and the more you cold call, the more you dial, the more your muscle grows.
And the more comfortable you
yeah.
become with
Right.
what you're doing.
It's a numbers game.
Yeah.
You're not going to get on the phone with one person and sell a deal.
Oh.
It's not going to happen. Anyone that tells you that they have a 100% lead conversion ratio
That's
is not only a bald-faced liar, but they're probably a little crazy.
And-
You know.
We've been doing leads for 15 years. Leads convert at, let's say, 3%.
3%,
You speak
right.
to somebody. So you got to speak to hundreds
100
and
people to get
hundreds-
3 deals.
Not even 3 deals. To speak to those 3 people, then
Three
out of those 3
potential-
people,
yeah,
how
three
many?
Potential deals.
You know,
right.
I've
so
al-
it's a
Go ahead.
compounding effect. It takes time, man.
Yeah.
And you're going to get told no, 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 no. And out of those people that told you no, month 1, maybe month 3, 2 of those people come back, and then month 5, so you got to keep plugging away.
See, that was a big thing. Like even like in this business though, in the mortgage business now we're on the phones. So like it's a little easier to deal with objection when it's not to your face.
You're right, yeah,
in the car business,
You're right
you
there.
would spend an hour with somebody, do a walk around in the car, you take them down to the service center to see another car, then they end up coming back up to you at the dealership wanting numbers, and you run them numbers, then it ends up being, I gotta go home and, talk to my wife or whatever. So that always happens. But then when you really look at it, a lot of that stuff, your objections are probably happening at the end of the process or in the middle of the process because you didn't confront those things up front.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So after I got that, I have to go home and speak with my wife to make sure that we want the car.
Let's
The
call
next
her right now.
customer that
That's
I
one of
took,
the first things you
the
asked
next
about.
customer that I took, I said, are all decision makers here? No? Okay, so then wait till the numbers until all decision make. Oh, you know what? Well, I'll take the numbers now. And okay, so if we're able to come to the right number, are you willing to take the car home today? Yes, I am. Or I had a couple that came in with their whole family to buy a car. They were looking at spend an hour and a half with them, and they said, "Well, Jared, we're a very religious family. We need to pray on the car."
Oh, this is my favorite.
And I said, okay. I took that objection for a second, and I said, you know what? I said, I have a very quiet room in the back that we could all go to right now and pray on the car. He said, Jared, I love that. Walked into the room. I walked into the room.
Right?
They prayed. I closed the door. They prayed. They walked out of the room. They said, we'll take the car home today. Hallelujah, Jesus. Thank
awesome.
God.
That's great.
But what I was gonna say before was, you made those people feel really good though, right? You respected, their process.
And
And
making someone feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You got to let them, their own process. Let them go about it the way
And
they
that's
want.
The takeaway is one of the most important things in sales, and that's not a sale. It's when you speak to somebody and you give them the information that they're looking for. Give them time to let them make their decision now. Yeah, we're guiding them and giving them information that they need to know, but they're ultimately going to make the decision, whoever that decision maker
Yeah.
is. So do the takeaway. Let them, now that they know what they need to know to make that decision, let them make their decision because they're going to make that decision anyway for themselves.
I think ultimately too, if you take the direction like when you're cold calling, when you're dialing, when you're just getting into a business that you have no clue about, don't take it from a perspective of like I need to make money now or I need to find a sale right now. Go into your 2, 3, 4 hours of dialing and say like, all right, well, I've got 60 leads here. I just need to find 5 people that I can help today, or that I can lead down the right path.
Right.
If you change your perspective into going attacking your list like that, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, you have to trust the process.
Yeah.
But in order to trust the process, you have to know the process.
Yeah.
And in order to know the process, you have to have people around you that have been in the process for a while that understand. So we're lucky enough to have people that have been in the business for 50 years.
Yeah, that way.
So they've seen every type of market that there is, difficult and the best of the markets.
Yeah.
So when you're sitting there grinding, we're making 100 calls a day, and Keith or Anthony comes up to you, they says, Jared, keep doing what you're doing. You're going to see success. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because I know that someone successful is telling me that because they've seen
They've seen it,
success.
yeah.
They've
They
seen
know that works.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yep.
Everybody wants to reinvent the wheel. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. When I got into my business, I could say for myself, I took 4 or 5 years to make real money. So I watched everybody else earn all the money, and I put my time in, I put my work in. I would be on the phones, dialing, watching everybody else take home their fat paychecks.
Right.
And it took me a time where I said, all right, now it's my time. I got to get licensed. I got to pass my test. And even when I passed my test, that first year, that was the first time, like, all right, I did well now. I did okay. Not for what I think is okay, but that's always going to be how I am and how we all, in my opinion, should be. But it takes time, man. My salary was $200 a week, when I started in the business. And I had a salary because I didn't get commission on deals because I wasn't licensed. So I came to work 40 hours to make $200. And then I got a raise to $300. Then eventually to $500 a week, and that was making no commission. And I was probably driving a $100,000 car, making $500 a week back then, and that wasn't the right way to. That wasn't the best way to do things. But that quickly taught me that I have no choice now. I got to pass my test. I'm going to put the pressure on myself, and I feel like that's also something that people don't really speak about. People are very comfortable where they are right now for whatever reason. I am not comfortable.
Right.
And some of us have seen success. Some of us have gone through different stuff. I'm not comfortable where I am.
Right.
And a lot of people I feel like are very comfortable in the current situation that they're in right now.
Right.
And until you continue to put the work in and do the stuff every day, like I always say that you know you need to do, you're never going to get anywhere. You're not monetarily in business.
Right.
You might be a great person, and I don't knock those people. I have plenty of great friends in my life that they could be in a job that it doesn't take the work that we have to put in.
Yeah.
They don't need to work 7 days a week.
Right.
You know, they're okay with making $75,000 a year, which God bless those people. You know,
There's nothing wrong with
there's
it.
nothing wrong with
Nothing
those
wrong with
people.
that.
You know, people always make all these jokes. You know, I have the friend who's a teacher or whoever it is. They get home at 2, 3 o'clock. Those are great people.
Right.
But I'm not that person.
Well, there's
I'm not
two
that
types of pain.
Yeah.
There's the pain of discipline, and then there's the pain of regret.
Yeah.
I'd rather take right now the pain of discipline because I know that at the end of myself trusting the process and working as hard as I am, I'm going to see success.
I'd rather cry in a Ferrari.
Give up, you're
I'd
gonna
rather
regret.
cry in a Ferrari, baby, but I'm taking the Rolls Royce Cullinan.
Guys, listen, before we finish up today, I wanted to speak about some of the stuff, like looking back, you know, at this last year or two. I know some of us are newer in the business than some of us, and what would you have changed last year? Like I said, you crushed the end of the year. You know, you put the work in, you knew exactly what you had to do. When people weren't doing what they had to do, you were doing it. You know, you built your. When we started together, it was all leads, all of us, me and you both. And then we both started to finally dabble into other avenues of business. And you've also seen success now with getting out there and, you know, meeting people, getting big referrals. And it's a great feeling, I'm sure, to actually
This year definitely
accomplish that.
did a lot more of. I
What
think
would you have done
getting out
different? And then what going forward next year, you know, what's the
I
plan?
would have did. I think I would have did more of what I did that worked.
Yeah.
Right. The more of again the social media we kind of started. I started getting into.
It's
with,
a long
you know,
play,
yeah, it's a long play, but I think it's more of just getting out there and spending more time with the relationships that you have and that you've built.
There's always time to call your leads.
Yeah,
You don't have to sit there.
We're always
12
gonna
Right.
we're always gonna get. I'm always gonna get back to those people.
We gotta
because
get
that's part
out
of it.
there more.
But it's getting out
All
there
of us.
more, and not looking at, I guess, the short term of, you know, working on the business and what we have going on right now, but 6 months down the line, a year down the line, building more of like a concrete structure where you're doing everything and not just focusing on one or two.
Like an
of those.
assembly line, it has to just
Yeah,
flow
it
no
has to
matter
flow.
what market it is. Because I'll even chime in again real quick. I got complacent. You know, we saw so much success even before COVID. You know, people always say, "Well, everybody was successful during COVID." No, I was
We were making
successful
money
before
before.
COVID, and COVID made me complacent. I'm the first to admit it. You know, because we were getting so much business, the phone was just ringing and ringing. Yeah, we were spending so much time working and servicing those clients, but I feel like some of us, and I could speak for myself, forgot the little things you have to do every day to make sure that 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, if the market does change, how are we going to replace that business?
Right.
You know, so I got complacent where I took my foot off the gas in certain avenues of our business that generate business. You know, I think I did a great, and we all did a great job at servicing our clients, making them happy, helping them get through a challenging year. Because before this year, before rates were high, you know, everybody's debt ratio was 50%. People didn't qualify then.
Everyone was maxed
But
out
now
already.
rates are 8%. How are people going to qualify? And that's why it was a challenging year for people.
Right.
You know, you used to have to make whatever the numbers were. You could make $100,000 a year and buy a home on Long Island. Now that's not even in the realm of reality.
Right.
It's not. It's not an option. You know, so
120 is like your bare minimum with no debt. 130.
120 you're netting 5
Well,
to 6,000 a month
$600,000
after taxes
20%
every.
down.
You're making 5,000 a month after taxes if you make $120,000 a year,
It's
6,000.
just
The
unfortunate
average
enough.
mortgage payment on a $500,000 home with tax and insurance is
$4,500.
$4,000 to $5,000 a month. So that's one whole income if there's no second household
How's
income.
it work? Yeah. How are you gonna do it?
You know,
Plus
so
the student loans that you have.
And aside from your personal expenses,
Correct.
we're not counting in the fact that you got to eat every day, and then you know
Yeah.
your laundry, all these little things that add up to that are part of your bills that we only see what's on your credit report when we're approving you for a mortgage.
And speaking about all this, though, that's what fuels me because we're never going to let ourselves be in that situation. You know, like I said, those people, the people that are okay with being where they're at in life and being complacent, they don't make those people bad people. But I just know that all of the stuff that we talk about, we all have the same vision, I think, and the same goals, the things we want to accomplish in life. You know, I know the work that we have to put in and that I have to put in. I think this year, you know, starting like with the fitness thing that we recently all got into together, that's one very important thing that I'm excited about, taking that to the next level. You know, doing the work that we need to do in the office and all the stuff that, you know we have to do to stay consistent. You know, I'm excited about that as well. I just know that if I go another year, and I'll speak for myself, if I go another year and not gear back towards the basics, like in our business, you know, then you can't expect the results. You can't. Sometimes you have to go back to basics, and I think now's a perfect time. Rates are starting to come down. You get out there with your referral partners. You grind in the office. You set up your schedule. I made a story last week that if you didn't do your business plan for 2024, are you really in business? You know, you have to put it on the paper. You have to put it to the paper. You have to know that this is what I want to do this year. These are the goals I want to hit. This is how I'm going to hit those numbers. And if you don't know those things, you know, that's how I felt this year. I just kind of rolled with it and hoped for the best. You can't do that. You have to know that. I got to do this to accomplish this. And if I fall a little bit short, that's fine.
You gotta take the action.
You gotta take the action.
Yeah.
And it also starts with, like you said, your personal life too. Like, be good to yourself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, we all beat ourselves.
We're hard on ourselves, bro.
We're
I'm
so
the
hard on
hardest.
ourselves.
Yeah, we are.
All four of us here.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that we don't pay attention to, is because we're constantly going through it and we're not taking care of ourselves. The gym is one thing that you really stepped it up. You
All of us, though.
twice a day. Yeah, I mean, I got to get to a more consistent level, because I'm going 3 days a week. I need to be going 5 days a week. Because when I do go, I feel so much better that fucking day. You know what I mean? Like, it's a game changer. So, like, that's very important. And I think that's one thing for me, too, going into this year, is focus on my health as well and my mindset. You know what I mean? I could get in my head, you know, better than anybody.
I spoke about vices on the last episode, like smoking pot. Like, that was always my thing. Like, when you get stressed out, let me go smoke a little pot, because that brings you back to here. And that's not okay.
It's not the
I don't think it's the worst thing in the world.
No,
I'm sure there's
but
things
it
that are
shouldn't be
worse.
the answer
That's
every
not
time.
that's not the
Shouldn't
answer.
be the answer
No,
every
that's
time.
not the answer. No, you have to learn to deal with things.
Work through it.
Yeah, work through it. No matter what it is.
Because it'll subside if you just keep going and you just take a deep breath and just notice what's affecting your mood or whatever. Attack it and keep going.
Because what's funny is, in the grand scheme of things, like, whatever it is, not that big.
It's not that big of a deal. No, it's not.
You'll forget it in a week.
But the problem is, it'll stop you from focusing on what you should be focusing on.
Correct.
And now you're sidetracked and you're not going 100% where you should be, and you're thinking about something that, again, it's taking up time that shouldn't be taking up that time. You know, so.
Well, listen. Before we finish up, I know. What are your plans, man, for next year? I know you got some big plans. You've been doing some different stuff, and what are your plans for this year?
I'm definitely, so this year I really focused on relationships. So I'm going to double down on that again. You know, going into next year, and when I say relationships, we're really looking for good people to do business with. Right. I've had opportunities to work with some people that I felt like that were great agents, phenomenal attorneys, but I don't think I vibed well with them. Right. And for me, like, energy and vibe when you're working together is the biggest thing.
Huge,
right. Like, I've had opportunities working with agents that do 100+ units a year. And not that I'm going to say no to business, but that my headspace and the energy that
you're not going to give them that energy.
Yeah, it's not worth it to me. I'd rather take the agents that do 15, 20 a year, which it still isn't bad.
Build them up
and help grow and build
them,
those guys.
They appreciate what you're going to actually provide.
And they get it. They get the grind. They get what you got to go through.
I never got that, though, because some of us are, and a lot of us are top producers in our business, and I would never treat somebody that way.
No,
matter
never.
how busy I am.
Yeah,
like you
I
said,
never
Brian Clark
understood
called you back after a week. The minute I speak to somebody, you're going on my calendar. You don't have to follow up with me to call you next week. You got to have those qualities to be hyper successful in this business. That's like automatic, and
that's
I
why
commend
someone like that
That's
guy
amazing.
is that successful.
I love
Think
that
about it.
guy.
As busy as that person is, he took the time to reach out to Jared, remember the conversation he had, and invite him to come by for 10, 20 minutes.
He read his text and he made him a reminder. And you don't have to follow up with
Well,
that
that's
guy.
what I'm saying. That's,
You
you
don't
know,
follow up with him.
Of course not.
Jared, what are you doing next year?
Well,
I know you crushed the end of the year. What are you
Speaking of
doing this year?
relationships, like when I first got into the business, I was lucky enough when we went to lunch with Dimitri Roulette.
Yeah.
Dimitri, like, took me under his wing in a way. And I don't do real estate. We do mortgages.
Yeah.
But he educated me and put me on game with everything that I needed to know about the business
process
and the
and what he does.
process. And then he introduces me to every one of his agents.
Yep.
You know, so now, like, speaking of relationships, like, I have, like, friend relationships
You're friendly with them now,
his
yeah.
team. Like, we're very good friends. John, Matt, Jordan, Alexis, you know, Dimitri. We're all like a tight-knit group, you know, which is really
That's
cool.
what- that's what
Which
People you
don't
barely
get to
know.
see
These
a
people
lot.
you barely know for 6 months, though, have become.
You get
know,
people that come into business that expect business, that talk to you a certain way. You don't know me from a hole in the wall, you know. And then you get good, genuine people like that.
And sometimes it's people that, again, are complete strangers that
Right.
will want to see you succeed more than the people that are closest to you.
Right,
You know,
right.
which, again, you see that a lot, too. And, again, like you said, we were talking about, you get discouraged when you think that family member or that person's going
yeah.
to get you the business,
Yeah.
and they don't. But the guy that you met for 20 minutes
Yeah.
will take the time to show you, you know, how to succeed in the business.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's you know,
Everybody
you
always
never
wants.
know.
Everybody always wants to be on the next level, but they don't want to
They
put the
don't want
work
to
in
do next
get
level
to that
stuff.
next level.
I think
So-
my goals for next year, though, are just using more of my resources. I think when I first got into the business, I was a little timid to go and ask
reach out,
people
yeah.
for help because I didn't know everything.
didn't feel
But
like you
the
would know.
fact is that you're never.
It's
gonna
when you
know
don't ask.
everything.
It's when you don't ask for help, and then you get the answer wrong. Then people are like, "What the? Why'd you do
Right,
that?" You're
right.
better off asking the person, "Hey, I'm not sure about this."
Say you don't know.
I even with a client, no matter who it is.
Right. I'll be the first person to tell a client.
So
Listen,
much
I don't
more
know, I'll find out
professional.
for you.
Yeah.
You know, and they respect that more than anything.
And you actually find
You
out
know,
and
they're
call them
I
right back.
appreciate the honest answer. And then,
Yeah.
then if you don't call them back, then they probably reach out to someone
exactly.
else. But
But
you know, that's my goal, is to use more of my resources, continue to do the things that I know work, and not taking my foot off the gas pedal, you know. Not using my time at the office. We spend a lot of time in the office. And from what we understand with other people that are in our business, they don't spend as much time in the office. So if you're not going to spend the time in the office doing what would work for you, then you have to do something outside of the office that's also going to work. But if you're going to spend the time in the office, you can't spend it an 8-hour day and be on your phone for 3 hours
be productive.
and take a 2-hour break
Yep.
and then come back, and then all of a sudden now you're 5 hours in and you did
Listen,
nothing.
there's a hit.
you're doing something by being there, but you're not being
There's a
productive.
handful of guys, and even going back to where we used to be at the old place, you know, I could name probably 5 or 10 guys in the business that you don't need to follow up on what they're doing.
Right.
They're going to be like you were just saying. Like, not everybody does late hours in the long hour. You know, there's a certain handful of people, and I would never say those people, that you know that person, no matter what they're going through in their life, they're going to be in every day. They're going to be in early. They're going to be in late. They might have to go and do their thing. They're going to meet their clients, but they're going to come back. Doesn't matter if it's 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock, a Sunday, no matter what it is, those people are committed to their business.
He finishes his tasks for the day.
Listen, I love networking events. I love going, but those are parties. I'm a networking machine. I'll go and pick up my food from a pizzeria,
That's how it's all-
bring cards.
You're the
and
best at that.
On a line, I'll say, hey, listen, if I don't mean to bother you, if you and your friends or family are ever in the market for a mortgage, please give me a call. That's it. Easy, simple.
Yeah.
I didn't bother you. I got a call. I got a deal in right now. Someone that I met at a Jamaican restaurant. I gave him my card. He said, you have no idea. He said, I just inherited a property, and I'm looking to buy out my brother's. Boom. There's a mortgage right there. Free.
If you
and
never
give me money on
went and
lease.
just said hello to that guy,
I
who
didn't
never
open my
would
mouth.
have that deal.
If I didn't open my mouth, if I didn't keep cards on me, because that's our business, is that little piece of paper. Somebody calls it.
Simple.
That's all. That's all. That's all money.
Simplest approach, you know.
Yeah.
What about personally though? Like, what do we?
I like personal. I like.
Right, so real quick, personally, and then we'll finish up today.
Aside from the gym, aside from like your
Mentally,
nor-
mentally,
your-
mentally,
yeah,
right,
your normal
right,
thing,
right.
You know,
Right.
What? What do you? What's the question?
like what do you want to work on personally? Like, what are your goals personally for 2024? Like, we get it. Like, we want to eat better. We want to do the gym right, but
Become. What do I want to do? I want to become the best version of myself, and whatever that takes. Whether it's
But what does that entail? What can you work on?
putting the work in every day. There's a list of things that I have. Whether it's, we could talk about all of them: fitness, eating, work. You know, getting up early. You know, doing things throughout the day that you know you need to do. Setting a schedule. Time blocking. Not saying I'm at the office 12 hours, there's nothing to do. I used to go to the office at 7:30 in the morning for years. The last year or so I haven't done that. But the last 5 or 6 years when I did that, I always had something to do. I would send 100 emails. I would follow up with referral partners. You got to really just put the work in in all avenues of everything. And I could make a list of all the stuff I want to work on, but I want to become the best version of myself so I can give that to other people. And that naturally allows other people, not allows, helps other people to be successful in all avenues of life. And that's not just business. Yeah, monetarily, I want to see the most amount of success I could possibly see. But being happy, being the best version of you, you know, being like they all say online now, a hyper successful individual.
Right.
You know, that's the stuff that I'm working on right now, and I started working on at the end of this year, and I'm going to continue putting the work in. There's things I have to change today, and I'm going to continue doing my best to make those changes. I can't stand like the new year, I have goals for the new year, things that the minute that the first of the year happens, it's just a mental thing. I say I'm not going to do those things anymore, but I've already started to work on those things. You know, it's not just like, hey, January 1st hits, and now I'm a new person. You're full of shit if you think that's ever going to happen.
Right.
We were just talking about that
I
can't
can't stand
When
people
you almost
that say
getting
that,
arrested.
I'm going to change next week. No. The last 6 months, I've been manifesting all of the stuff I know I need to do. I've started to work on them. Yeah, I'm making mistakes every day, but now it's at the point where that's my excuse for like the first of the year.
Yeah.
All the stuff I'm working on, now I'm going to really put it into play. And
You got to get right with yourself.
hope for the best, brother. It's a lot of it's luck, man. We can put the work in, but the harder you work, the luckier you get. And a lot of it's luck. A lot of it's luck. So
Yeah.
I'm going to do everything I can to be successful personally, for my family, in business, and for everybody else this year. That's my goal. You know, so
Love it.
that's what I got, man.
Gabe, what's your personal goal?
I touched on it before, but really
We weren't listening, maybe.
just focusing on how I make other people feel.
Yeah.
Right. It's like a big thing for me. I'm constantly apologizing for my actions, and quite frankly, I'm tired of it.
Apologize, right?
I want to always, make other people feel good. I want to make people feel appreciated, and I want to do more of that.
Don't let people take advantage of you. All right.
No, that's
Don't let
key.
people take advantage. I feel like people.
The nice guys,
I feel
yeah,
like people construe the two things. You know, you can only do so much for certain people. You know, not everybody's. I don't want to say it, but not everybody's a good person, bro. You're a great person, but you can only do so much to people that you might not get the energy that you expect sometimes. You know?
And to that though,
How do you perfect that? Being okay with that, you know?
And
that's what I think.
one of the best advices I ever got from an old mentor of mine is people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. Right? So whether somebody deserves it or not, at the end of the day, this person doesn't know me. This person doesn't know anything to me. Right, so all I could do for that person is show them like, hey, I'm here for you. Hey, I'm appreciative towards you. And that person doesn't accept it. No harm, no foul. I don't have any, I don't feel some type of way about that person. That person just, not meant to be in the circle or not meant to, get the best energy of myself. But I don't need to be around that person. But I definitely don't want that person to ever feel that I made them a certain way, because then I'm the bad guy.
All right.
All right, boys.
that's it, right?
Gio, G-Man, what do you got, man?
I mean, this year I want to be a machine. Just go back to just routine, pay attention to the little achievements, appreciate the little things, whether it's spending time with my wife, my family, or when I'm in the office. Again, every aspect of what I'm doing, just be hyper focused on it.
Creating our own environment.
Yeah, creating my own environment, just not paying attention to the outside noise. You know what I mean? And just laser focused, man. That's it. Bulletproof this year. That's what I want to be.
Right.
Listen, boys, I appreciate your time again. I'm glad we could sit down. My camera died? All right. I guess I'll circle back. Well, listen, guys, I appreciate you coming to sit down today. I love all four of you, or four of us. Three of you guys.
We know you love yourself.
You have to love yourself.
You damn right.
Self-love, bro.
Self-love.
Self-love, man.
You got to get right with
You're right,
yourself
though. Yeah, you
before
gotta
you
love
can get
yourself.
anybody else right.
Exactly.
true.
So I appreciate the time. I hope all of us, I know all of us are going to crush the new year. And hopefully we could roll with this again soon, John.
We love you.
New Year, everyone.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Stay dangerous.